Hi, this is Deborah at Dinglefoot Scrapbooking, and this week's project idea, I have a dark red card, and then I cut a piece of pattern paper to go over the top of that. And then I cut another light piece of paper, and this has a pattern on it too, and it just covers about 3/4 of the front of the pattern paper. And then I just cut a little scallop. I had a little punch here, 1 7/16 inches, so whatever stamp or something you want to use for your greeting, just cut your scallop to match that. So I just needed a small one. And then I have a stamp. My stamp block's way too big for it, but you can see I have a star, so you can use whatever design you want to, a leaf, a flower, anything you have in mind. And I have a very thin ribbon, and then separately I tied a little bow from the same ribbon. And then for the rest of my card, I have some clear embossing ink and clear embossing powder. And then I just have a few colors that would go with the pattern paper that I found. I'm going to use Tattered Rose and Shabby Shutters, and then you could use a makeup sponge or whatever you have. I have the ink applicator tool with a foam piece on it, so I'm going to be using that for my card. So to get started, I'm just going to use my score tape, and I'm going to put this piece of paper on the front of my card. So we'll get that out of the way. And then after this we can start in making the card. And this just goes right on the front. Very quick and easy. There we go. And now I'm going to put that aside and work on the stamping next. So I'm going to put some clear embossing ink on my stamp. And I don't know if I mentioned it. If you've never done embossing like this before, you will need a heat tool, and they're made especially for melting embossing powder. So this is wet enough that you can see where you're stamping on your paper, and I'm just going to go basically for the middle here. Just try to press it down evenly on my paper. Lift it up there. And then while it's still wet, we'll take this clear embossing powder and just pour a really generous amount over top of the wet ink. And all this extra powder will just get dumped right back into our jar. Then you just want to take your paper and just give it a good tap on whatever edge of the surface you're working on. And now that powder should be stuck to that ink, and all we have to do is take a heat tool and heat it up, and you will see it melt as you heat it up. Since it's clear embossing powder, it's going to get shiny. So I'm going to take a minute to melt this, and I'll be right back. Hopefully you can see the shiny surface in this stamp now. I don't know how it's catching the light on the camera there, but it's nice and shiny. And now we can take our inks and just start rubbing them around the edges of the stamp design. So I think I'll take some green, and I'm just going to, maybe I'll go more towards the middle of my stamp here. And then I'm going to take the Tattered Rose, whoops, and I think I'll go more around the edges with this one. So just make circular motions, or if you want to go in a directional up and down motion, you can do that. So I'm just wanting to get some ink around the edges of my stamped image. And if you have any harsh edges, just kind of rub the ink around to smooth them out a little bit. And then I'm going to take a rag and I'm going to rub right over my stamped image because I want to get that ink off the embossed part as much as possible. So we'll just rub that off. And you can see that our stamped image still sticks out quite nicely. So we can go ahead and put the rest of this card together. I'm going to take my little scalloped thank you like this, and this is actually going to go up underneath this piece right here. So it's going to sit like this with that little thank you hanging out underneath there. So I'm just going to take a glue stick and add some glue to the back of my scallop die cut. And then all we need to do is just kind of position this the way that it's going to be and just slide this under so we have the right placement for it. So that's going to be there. Then I'm going to grab my score tape once again and put this cream colored panel on. Okay, so we'll need to trim that edge just a little bit. Got some of my score tape hanging over the edge there. I don't know if you can hear all that racket on my video, but the wind's blowing like crazy, and I'm in South Dakota and we're supposed to get snow on Monday, so not really looking forward to that too much. But the wind is howling. It sounds like a blizzard right now. But thankfully it's not. Not yet anyway. So we're going to stick our cream piece right on there. And then all we really have to do is add the ribbon. I actually should have put this ribbon on first and tucked it underneath, but it's a little bit too late for that now. I kind of forgot. But if you're doing it, just take your ribbon and wrap it around this panel and tuck it behind the pattern paper before you are done putting everything together like I just did. Oops. It happens. Just get so busy thinking of other things. So this ribbon is nice and thick, so I'm just going to run some glue stick right along the edge there. And I'm going to put that right on the front of my card here. Then I'll just clip that edge right off there. There we go. And then I have my tiny, tiny little bow left, and I think I'm just going to put it on this side. So grab a little bit of hot glue here. And, whoops, got a little bit too much there. And we'll just put that right there. And we have a nice little fall themed thank you card. I guess the star isn't fall themed, but it has nice fall colors, so you could use it for thank you, or I wonder if you could just jazz it up a little bit more and use it for a Christmas card. That might be an idea. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.